Welcome back to the Comics Report, comic book review show, new improved comic book review show. My good buddy, Jimmy X. Hello, Jimmy. Ready to talk comics?
Hey, Angelo. Yeah. Let's do this.
Always ready to talk comics, right? So we're going to spoil the books, read them if you got them, and we're going to jump straight into the first book this week, which is Hyde Street from Image. So Jeff Johns. We all like Jeff Johns, right? You know, and Ivan Reyes. I've got his name right this time. I don't know why it caught my attention, but it did. So I thought I'd give it a look. So it's quite an interesting debut. Like many reviewers have said across the internet, which I read after I viewed it, it's basically a supernatural Twilight Zone, which is a good thing because who doesn't like the Twilight Zone, right? So let me get the premise down. So High Street is a street in New York where all the residents are people who have done something bad in the past, right? Some bad deeds, and they're trapped on the street. They can't leave the street. It's a kind of purgatory. And in order to redeem themselves and leave the street, and I'm not sure if that means they go back to the real world or they ascend to heaven, we don't know yet, they must play this game of damnation by preying on non-residents who wander down this particular street in New York. Get them to damn themselves, where they end up by not asking for forgiveness or something, scores points. And the more souls you trap on High Street or send to hell, the more points you gain, right? Now, these points are overseen by the scorekeeper, who's another mysterious character. We don't know who he is, what his dark past is, but when you have enough points, you get to leave High Street. There's a couple of cool things in the book. There's this young Boy Scout. God knows what he did to get there. He sends someone to hell rather than just get them to damn themselves. He gets them run over by a steamroller, very, very bloody. It's pretty cool. But the main protagonist is Mr. X-Ray, who was in his former life an unscrupulous advertising executive. He's basically a piece of shit. And you discover that through some of the flashbacks in the book. But the Boy Scout is why he's there. So it's all going to unravel. Really interesting premise. Bit of supernatural horror, I guess. And a definite thumbs up. I'm really interested to see where this book goes. And some great art. Reyes has done it. Really proud. Moving on to some things that we used to be proud of. X-Men 5.
Yeah, X-Men issue 5, published by Marvel, written by Jed MacKay with art and cover art by Brian Stegman. Previously on X-Men, operating out of a former Alaskan Sentinel factory, the X-Men are now looking into post-puberty activations in New Mutants, rescuing alien abduction survivor Ben Liu and faking his death to try and learn the truth. Psylocke and Kid Omega are attempting a psychic rescue inside the head of a comatose Ben Liu in a homage to the now classic silent issue of New X-Men by Grant
Which was
Morrison
very, very cool.
and Frank Quitely. Yeah, a huge benchmark in comic books. Maybe because it's the last issue had a superior fill-in artist, but Stegman's art seems even worse than usual this time, with an ugly, squat Psylocke and the usual teenager in his 30s Cyclops, thankfully reduced to just a cameo this week. Anyway, they sink into the psyche of a comatose, nearly activated mutant, and they encounter UFO imagery reminiscent of the last encounter in San Francisco in issue 2. And of course, it'll be too much to ask for irritating, quipping Quentin Quire to actually be silent during this psychic rescue.
No one likes him, right?
Morrison used him well. Benjamin Percy used him well. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Not said.
As they descend below the surface trauma into the next layer, images of Ben in work meetings and presentations. Then he's driving a car, cruising down Pacific Coast Highway. He's hit by a tractor beam, putting him up into a spaceship, and then he's being probed and experimented on, but will look like Dr. Octopus-style tentacles. Aliens, my ass, exclaims Quire. Those are people. And then one of them addresses the X-Men. Hello, ducklings. Psylocke asks who they are, and she's told not to poke her nosy little duckling nose into 3K's business. The duo are then tortured by their personal nightmares. Sabretooth for Quire, as he's still suffering PTSD of being beheaded by Logan's Nemesis on Krakoa. And for Psylocke, she's tortured by visions of her boyfriend Greycrow shooting himself in the head. When he hears the gunshot, Quire snaps out of it, realizing it's an illusion and using his Omega level powers to break them out of Ben's mind. The issue ends as they stumble out of Ben's room, bleeding from their eye sockets, and Psylocke reports they're called 3K. They've learned how to activate the dormant X gene in humans, and Cassandra Nova is one of them. And if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, you'll know who Cassandra Nova is.
And you'll know why she's in this book. So thumbs up or thumbs down,
yeah,
Jim?
that too. Yeah, I can't recommend this.
What a shame. What a shame. Oh, this whole X relaunch has been an absolute disaster in my book.
It is a shame. And Hickman's stuff was so good.
Yeah, well, it's hard. Well, you know what? It's not hard to beat that because these are the two biggest companies on the planet. They can buy the talent. They're just... We'll save it for another show because I'll go off on a tangent and I'll be, I don't know, cancelled for saying bad things. Moving on. Nemesis Rose Gallery. Now, I love this whole Nemesis universe that Miller's created. It's so much fun. It's Dark Horse, written by Miller, as I said, with art by Valerio Giangiordano. Right, so Nemesis is continuing his ultra-violent comeback in classic Mark Miller style. You know what a Mark Miller book's like, you know, when he's flexing those brutal, violent muscles. So they stole some hardware in this really well done, brilliant mid-air heist from this heavily guarded aeroplane, right? And then they parachute down and they commandeer this trawler. And I say commandeer, they slice the captain's throat. After that, Nemesis and his new sidekick, the Rookie, they're back at the mansion that they killed their way into owning. And the Rookie is assuming the identity of the owner because he's a bit elusive. It's part of the plot. You should pick it up. And they're figuring out what's next. What are they doing next? Now, they've stolen $20 million already. And these new toys aren't going to be sold. They're going to be used as part of their nefarious plans. So they've got like tranquilizer rings and mini earthquake generators. You know that stuff that only Miller can come up with, right? Anyway, they need more money still. So they decide to steal the Heart of India diamond from this charity auction. It's worth $200 million, right? Because for some reason he needs more cash by the end of the month. Probably because taking over the world is an expensive thing. Stealing the diamond is obviously a good start. So after Nemesis steals the diamond, his escape is interrupted by the kill team, who you were introduced to over the last few issues. Now they're working against Nemesis. They're out for revenge because he killed their loved ones, right? So they want to take him down. And this team is funded by the mysterious Mr. Parks, who Nemesis stole something from. What that something is, we don't know yet, but it's alluded to. It's going to be a surprise knowing Miller. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be fun. So back to the robbery. The kill team attack Nemesis, cut his arm clean off. But after unmasking him, they find out it's actually not Nemesis. It's a cat burglar masquerading as Nemesis. But before they can get their bearings, Nemesis and the Rookie turn up with a like, what the fuck's going on here? It's going to be bloody. So super fun, real quick read. Classic Miller, like I've said 3 or 4 times already. Definite thumbs up. Love it, love it, love it. Loads of fun. Loads of fun. Like comics should be. Just a bit of light relief sometimes. Moving on to Absolute Power, the end. Leading into the all-in, God knows what it's going to be like. Universe expanding, changing DC thing.
Yeah.
Absolute I'm not that excited by it.
Published by DC, written by Mark Waid with art and cover art there by Dan Mora. Now, previously, Amanda Waller launched a deepfake AI strike against the heroes, making them appear to be deranged murderers to the world and depowering 80% of them with the help of Amazo robots and a former hero turned traitor, Green Arrow.
Yeah, no.
As the final issue begins, chaos reigns in Waller's camp. A prison strike's been orchestrated. The depowered heroes are now armed with confiscated Justice League tech. And Nightwing, the de facto leader of the rebellion, he tells this young speedster Airway to stay close to him. Remember that. Given another rallying speech as they prepare for their showdown, boom tubing into Waller's HQ. And as their goons prepare to defend their weapons, all malfunction, the weapons that Green Arrow upgraded for them. The Flash tries to stop the portal containing hundreds of Waller's multiversal reinforcements, and when all seems lost, he's joined by Green Lantern and his power ring, sealing it shut, cutting them off from the multiverse, we're told, forever. Batman's located prisoner John Starr, Time Commander, who started this whole mess by reprogramming Failsafe and the Amazo robots after Waller's coercion. Batman knows that he's the key to the heroes getting their powers back, explaining, and Starr explains he fitted each robot with his hallmark, a tiny hourglass. That's how they've been able to self-repair, rewinding time to the moment before they were attacked. and he has created an override device. And if it hits one robot, it's going to start a chain reaction in all of them, returning all stolen powers to respective heroes. No sooner as he's handed it to Batman, though, an Amazo attacks and it's knocked out of the Dark Knight's hand. However, it's picked up by Green Arrow, who immediately notches it to an arrow, letting fly at the robot, incapacitating all of them at once and returning the powers to the heroes. He explains in order to infiltrate Waller's operation, he had Martian Manhunter alter his brain to believe in her cause, because she had to believe that he believed in her cause until an internal timer ran out, freeing him of that belief. Meanwhile, Nightwing, along with a back from the dead Dreamer, confronts Waller, who screams in fury about tricking the world into thinking that the heroes were monsters, only for Nightwing to literally rain on their parade straight away by using airwaves, living Wi-Fi powers to broadcast her rant to every computer, phone, or TV screen in the world, letting them all know that she duped them. In the aftermath, we learn that closing the portal was taking Barry Allen's powers away from him for good. That was the cost. Waller has been incarcerated in Belle Reve prison, which is quite ironic. And she laughs at this, saying all the knowledge she's got in her head, she'll blackmail her way to freedom. It's not a problem. Dreamer asks, well, okay then, where's the Batcave? Where's Booster Gold from? Where did the Birds of Prey meet? What's Cyborg's real name? Waller's dismayed and shocked to realise that she cannot remember any of it. Dreamers want the knowledge from their brain. And finally, at the original Justice League HQ, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman meet with Green Arrow and show him hologram of blueprints to a brand new Justice League Watchtower space station,
which we'll get to later.
Yeah,
so what do you think?
I mean, everyone who's been watching this show knows that I love this event. I thought the core series was really, really strong, and I would give each one 5 out of 5 stars if we did stars. But this one I would give 4 because it is a little bit tropey. And
honestly, I lost interest in it. I can't get excited by
Wi-Fi. It. And also, they wasted failsafe. Wasted failsafe. They wasted.
To be honest with you, this is just purely a vehicle to. I tell you what, we'll save this because I'm going to cover it near the end. But okay, so not bad then. 4 out of 5 for you, Jim.
I enjoyed it.
Still a thumbs up.
Mora's artwork again is the MVP there.
The art is nice. I'll give you that. Talking about nice art, Birds of Prey number 14. So Kelly Thompson, still on the book, obviously. Art by Sami Basri. So it's a new arc, new artist, new mission. All right.
Nice.
Yeah, I know it is. So the Birds of Prey, they're infiltrating the Ninth Day. All right, which is a $1 billion corporation responsible for the kidnap of 5 Amazonians. Which makes this not only a rescue mission, but one of reparations towards the Amazons after the Megadeth arc, the previous arc, where the Birds of Prey, they snuck onto Themyscira uninvited to extract Bat Canary's adopted sister, Sin. So this time, the team's a bit different. Joining Oracle, Black Canary, Big Barda, Megara are new team members and Amazons, Grace Choi and Onyx. And they have a little spar with Big Barda and found out the hard way why she's Big Barda. So a little bit of team bonding going on. Back to present, Cassandra Cain is undercover at the Ninth Day's offices. And after an unannounced trial by combat test, she's allowed into their inner sanctum. Now we go back to Oracle. Oracle tells us that the Ninth Day make wellness products and have recently signed a private contract with the military and suspects they're experimenting on the Amazons for their unique and rare properties, right? Which Cassandra, she confirms that when she witnesses this secret lab that they take her to, and all the Amazons are hooked up to tubes and on beds and things going in and out of them. It's pretty bad. So they are being experimented on. And that's it. So it's an introduction to the new team, an interesting story, The only thing I don't like about it is just another corporation, it's just a little bit unoriginal. But other than that, it was fun. The art was lovely. It's a thumbs up. It's a thumbs up. Not bad so far. All my books have been thumbs up. Batman. Yeah. New arc, right?
Batman.
This is the first of the all-in new arcs, right? Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, Batman 153, published by DC. I'm going to take a run up at this now. Written by Chip Zdarsky. Yes, nailed it.
There we go.
And cover art by Jorge Jimenez. Batman has returned to his home city of Gotham. In a discussion with Jim Gordon, we learn that Bruce Wayne has invested lots of money to revitalize old Gotham. Gordon tells Bats that Gotham's getting better and so are its people. And a news report highlights that a reformed Riddler, aka Edward Nigma, has also taken the city by storm recently with his Nigmatech cryptographic technology, bringing a lot of good new jobs to Gotham. Although Mayor Chris Nakano is skeptical of the former villain. Batman checks in on Nigma himself, telling him that he's examining his code byte by byte, and if he hides anything, he'll find it. Plus, he's noticed that his servers are being called by tech pioneered by Mr. Freeze, so that's interesting. The next day, in his guise as billionaire Bruce Wayne, we see that his company is being protested outside of with slogans like "Wayne is the secret commie," as he pushes into the non-profit sector. His new CEO, Miss Burkmo, informs him that the media have framed him cleaning up old Gotham. Media have framed him cleaning up old Gotham as handouts for migrants and the tax breaks that they're getting paid for by the taxpayers. So they're losing money on the whole, and she's begging him to consider a merger or acquisition, which he refuses. In a phone call afterwards, we see that she's liaising with and possibly working for Riddler, angling for a merger with his company. Elsewhere in the city, we're introduced to violently vigilante Commander Starr, who looks like a mashup of Batman, Wolverine, and Captain America. He shoots a criminal that's fleeing Batman mercilessly in the legs. An angry Cape Crusader tries to take him down, but is stopped by shady new Commissioner Vandal Savage, who orders the police to arrest Batman for his many crimes before Bats drops a smoke pellet, fleeing the scene. Savage says someone should take care of the mayor, and Commander Starr nods approvingly. The mayor angrily tells Savage that he plans on firing him tomorrow, and that issue ends that night with Mayor Nakano being gunned down by an unseen assassin and Bruce Wayne learning shockingly that a claim has been filed against him for half his stock in Wayne Industries by his brother.
I know, because I read this and I had to double check that I read that right. They might have some secret brother he doesn't know about. Yeah. It wasn't bad. I mean,
I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty
enjoy
good.
It just didn't. I miss Tom King. I miss. Is it Tom King's run?
I've never read Tom King's run. I should
Tom
do that.
King, who did like Court of Owls and all that jazz.
Scott Snyder.
I missed that run. I'm sure King did a huge run as well.
Yeah, he did. But I haven't read it.
I missed that. It's missing something. There were some great scenes in it, like Batman appearing in the office with "I'm watching you, Riddler" part. But it was, I don't know, it was missing something.
Yeah,
anyway,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a time killer for me.
Better than
Jimmy, I'm going to be naughty. I'm throwing an extra book in because it's going to be super quick. And there's a reason why I'm throwing it in. Yeah?
Okay.
I know. So, Skin Police from Oni Press, written by Jordan Thomas, who is also the writer of Mugshots, which we all know is a standout book.
Oh, yeah.
And art by Daniel Gete. I'm going to do a super quick sort of review here by reading the solicitation first, because it sums everything up and then give you a couple of bits of information. So, in the year 2042, fertility levels around the globe plummeted and a black market for illegal clone babies emerged. Millions of parents used their own genetic material to welcome these new children, only realizing the horrific consequences far too late. At some point in the life cycle of these clones, 3 and 4 of these genetic duplicates transform into psychologically unstable killing machines known as dupes. Now, the United Nations of Europe, they decided that they must take an active role in containing this growing threat, and they formed this specialized task force. This specialized task force is meant to go out there, hunt down these dupes, and stop them from going crazy. Now, they're called the Duplicate Identification and Capture Division, but to everyone else, they're called the Skin Police. They're not loved by the general public. So we follow DIC agent throughout the whole issue, and it's very, very expertly explained throughout the whole book. The whole world is set up beautifully. Everything is done really, really, really well. Anyway, the main guy, he's assigned this young rookie to shadow him. And we're also following this sub-story of this other girl who we suspect might be a dupe. And the DIC, they catch up with her, but she's saved by this disfigured man when the DICH have her cornered. So that's really what happened. The whole book sets up the world, introduces you to the main protagonist who's on the front cover and his little rookie side shadowing agent. It's dystopian sci-fi at its best. Daniel Gete's art is basically, if you took Mobius, Frank Quitely and Jeff Darrow, mashed it all together, that's what you get. It is nothing short of incredible. Expertly written, like I've said, thoroughly engaging, and I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. This is now one of the books I'm going to look forward to every month. It's absolutely brilliant. And I read it after I did all my reviews, and it was so good. I'm like, no, we're going to put this in the show because it deserves it. It is brilliant. You will love it. So good, so good. Sorry, I slipped an extra book in there this week because I just couldn't not include it. So we've arrived, Jim, at the big one, the all-in special.
We're all in.
There we go. Which, if you don't know, is split into two stories, Alpha and Omega. So you're covering Alpha, I'm covering Omega. So this is
we're
where
teaming up to do this one.
Yeah, this is definite team up. This is where this whole next God knows how many years of DC pivots from.
Mm-hmm.
Roll the dice, my friend. Tell me what you thought.
Okay, DC All In Special Issue 1, published by DC, written by Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson, with art by Daniel Sampere, Wes Craig, and Dan Mora, and cover art by Daniel Sampere. 52 days after the events of Absolute Power, all of the superheroes in the DC Universe have pulled together their resources, talents, and powers to make the new Justice League Watchtower that we saw in Absolute Power a reality, and have decided to offer any hero who wants it membership in a brand new Justice League. A few, such as Robot Man and Metamorpho, refuse, while others like Supergirl and Arsenal jump at the chance. Superman is reveling at the return of his powers after a near-death experience, and he makes it a point to deliver a membership card to time-traveling Booster Gold personally. And Gold is overjoyed, absolutely overjoyed, as was I, to see him offered that. Superman tells him, "You've earned it," with a big cheesy smile, confiding, and Booster confides that in his future failing as a star athlete, the only employment that he could find was at a Metropolis museum, and he remembers seeing a blank Justice League card in a display there, and an artifact from a great moment in history where everyone came together to support each other. Superman laughs good-naturedly, telling him the card is just the start. We're showing everyone tonight, don't be late. Cut to later that night. All the heroes converge on the new Watchtower, gathering as Mr. Terrific welcomes them all in a keynote speech to the Justice League Unlimited. Yeah, they went there. Telling them the membership cards are much more than just access to the Watchtower. Each one's personalised to their own powers and abilities, and will pair them with others that can do the same. A sort of superhero buddy system, I guess. My wife was also reading this. She found that hilarious. Mr. Terrific then shows the legendary blank card that Booster Gold remembers, as Gold and his droid, they've just arrived late after stopping for hot dogs. And then things pretty much go to hell straight away. The Spectre starts convulsing as Dr. Fate and Swamp Thing start chanting, "Darkseid is." And then those two plus Satana all start shooting Omega beams from their eyes, and we see some kind of dimensional bleed into the art style of the Omega story on the flip side. Which is really cool to see those two art styles meshing. Darkseid appears. He's bonded to the Spectre and he attacks. He's babbling something about being hidden from him, and the JLU mobilise to stop him, with Superman and Zatanna successfully separating him from their ally. He says, "Thank you." Darkseid ends before exploding with a massive boom, leaving a rip in space and time in his wake. Superman recognizes it as the door to the Elseworld, the Alpha World, a world they've seen before but wasn't fully formed. But it is now. So as a time traveler, Booster Gold is chosen to go through and scope it out, losing Skeets en route, and he arrives in a red-skied metropolis with a huge Omega symbol of Darkseid blazoned on the Daily Planet building. And to his horror, his own Legion of Superheroes float ring has also changed the Omega symbol as Darkseid booms out, "Finally, I have my army, my Legion." And the story ends on a big splash page by Dan Mora depicting his Dark Legion. Yeah, I absolutely love this. Booster Gold is one of my favourite superheroes. I loved 52. I loved his solo series. So it's great to see him back in this, and also in such a big role. I've got the feeling that you have different thoughts about this, though.
Well, Jimmy. Funny you should ask. Omega, the second part, written by the same team, Scott Snyder and Josh Williamson, but art by Wes Craig, is set 52 days earlier, 52, flogging a dead horse, and told from Darkseid's perspective. So the multiverse was severed during the events of Absolute Power, right? And this sent out this huge surge of energy that Darkseid felt, and it awakened a hunger in him like he's never felt before. He's currently on this journey back to power anyway, and he's amassed this huge, the greatest army Apocalypse has ever seen. But this surge has changed him. It's realigned his purpose, all right? So, through his own blood and one of his children, Darkseid has bonded with some pretty serious tech, a wish machine that only he can use. And then he travels to hell, heaven, dark side of the moon to find and bond with the Spectre to discover the ultimate truth about himself and what this surge he felt was. What does it mean? So the Spectre is the wrath of God, right? And is the only being who can grant him the knowledge and power to break creation itself. Anyway, during this bonding, the Spectre beams him into the JLU's new watchtower, as you saw in Alpha. Oh my God, this book is so bad. The Spectre tells him that everything must have a balance, a yin and yang, an alpha and omega, right? And where Superman is the embodiment of hope, the primordial energy of life, Darkseid, who now has no double in multiverse, is his direct opposite. Darkseid is final, Darkseid is basically death, right? So the Spectre further explains that a small part of Darkseid's power was shared across every single world and universe. And now and the omniverse, right? Now these multiverses and omniverses have consolidated. All that power is returned back to him, which is what he's feeling. It's this restlessness, this explosiveness, this surge he felt. He says, look, be patient. The multiverse and the omniverse will return, and that power will then funnel back out and you'll feel at ease again. But he replies, what if I want more? So at that moment, he sees everything, the past, the present, the sheer eternity of existence, and decides he doesn't want it, right? Which is why he attacks the JLU in their new watchtower, which we saw in Alpha, because he needed a group of heroes that were powerful enough to destroy him so he could be reborn as a singular being, untethered from the multiverse, with all that raw power available to him so he can create one world built from that collective energy. The absolute universe, right? So this world is driven by challenge and turmoil, where heroes are born facing greater odds and raised in hell. The issue ends with Booster Gold, which you're probably happy about, just like it did in the first story, Alpha, looking up to see Darkseid proclaiming, finally, I have my army, my legion. Not good, Jim. Yeah, beautiful artwork, but not a great book. So let me get it straight, right? There's this huge, in the beginning of Alpha, massive lead up, the trinity of DC and all the rest of them, they're all coming together to create this great moment in history, to create something so powerful that will last forever and protect the earth and protect the people. And it's a fucking membership card. Are you serious? A fucking membership card. Now, no superhero would have a stupid fucking membership card. Let's be honest, right? Anyone that tells me that it's symbolic, it's about the greater good, it's what it means. They can go visit the doctor, mate. They need to get their head checked. To make it even dumber, this membership card, some kind of religious object that they all look like they're worshipping, it's a fucking membership card. I hope they double laminated it, mate. Because, in their super wallets, how the old Blockbuster cards used to get all dog-eared, and I hope they double laminated, mate. It was awful. I was like, really? This is the big thing that changed everything? And also, right, Darkseid, right, he has a wish machine, which means he can get anything he ultimately desires, right? In fact, when he visits Eclipso, Zoriel, and the Quintessence, right? When he goes to heaven, hell, and the moon, and they offer him everything he's ever wanted, and he says no. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Alpha was so much better than Omega, which is a convoluted mess, and requires some Olympic level mental gymnastics to navigate and make the story remotely believable. The whole concept makes the DC universe actually even more fucking like confusing and feels like another shitty multi-title spanning multi-omniverse event that claims to be the beginning of something special, which it's not. I mean, come on. I mean, why does DC always revert to these universe-altering mega events? I mean, how many of those have we had from DC already, right? I don't know. I've lost count. To be honest, the only positive takeaway from this was it enables DC to incorporate the Elseworld books, which are usually really good, into the mainline canon without the usual restrictions and hurdles that you have to go through, right? All in, I'll pause there. This feels like amateur work with big names attached to covers. And in my opinion, an absolute, I'll pause again, waste of fucking time. I'm like, why not just put some Elseworld books out? This was totally unnecessary. And it's pulled out some of my faith in what's to come. I just hope that the Elseworld books themselves are good. But for me, mate, it's a massive thumbs down. I'm sorry, mate. How did you feel?
It's okay. I absolutely loved it. Yeah.
But you love these events. You love them.
Love
I just like, what does it add to DC? Nothing.
And if it has Booster Gold in it, then all the better.
Why not just give him his own book and make it good? It's just big names. And I say this again, I think a lot of these big names are the draw. And I think, like many big names and many people, I'm a creative myself, right? I'm a graphic designer. There'll be a time when I'm out of touch and my designs are just not as good as they used to be. And this is the problem. It's just, I think you need fresh blood. Fresh blood. Bring them in, nurture them, and give them these big books and give it a breath of fresh air. I'm not excited about it at all. However, I do want to read Absolute Batman because everyone loves Batman. So, Jimmy.
Yeah, there's
what's your book of the week
coming up? My book of the week is All In.
All right, listen, you're entitled to your opinion. For me,
it actually is. No, I loved it, and also
thank
you so much to Cushy Comics for getting me this sweet Wes Craig variant.
It is nice. His art is the best thing about it. Anyway, my book of the week is hands down Skin Police. There we go. Just show it off one more time. Anyway, I don't want it to detract from how good Skin Police is because it is absolutely first class. I loved it. Right, moving on to next week. So what are you looking forward to, Jim, other than Absolute Batman?
Other than Absolute Batman, which obviously I'm down for, it's Robot Week next week because we've got X-Men Sentinels.
Oh, God.
Yeah, apparently they're not your father's Sentinels, so that's good to know.
I don't
we've got
care.
the Terminator issue 1.
Oh, right.
And completing the robot trifecta, we've got Transformers issue 13.
Of course
the
we have.
Secret Origin of Starscream.
Oh, brilliant! I'll jump onto that. I like Starscream.
I can't wait. With Jason Howard on that, with Daniel Warren Johnson. So yeah,
it's going to be good. Cool. So for me, I'm going to do Absolute Batman. Murder Kingdom sounds good. We've got Batman Full Moon, which looks good. We've got the Power Fantasy Witches month in, month out. A book of the month, not necessarily the week. A book of the month is that good?
Yeah,
got the Ultimates 5, which I'm going to read because I have to. But that's it. So thanks for watching. I'm going to flash the all-in special second flip side cover as well. So that's what you look forward to next week. That's the old absolute versions of the characters, right? Yeah, that's seeing Jimmy there.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks very much. Take care, guys. Tune in, share, subscribe. Tell us what you think. We love you all. Cheerio.